Cuomo here. Welcome to NewsNation, where right and left come to be reasonable. The theme tonight, what we focus on fixates, but what we ignore, we empower. What is that? Like a Hallmark card? No, I'll explain. In California, people are on high alert for a transgender athlete competing in California Interscholastic Federation sports events, despite the president's order prohibiting biological males from competing in girls' and women's sports. Social media is sizzling. People are protesting for attention to this perceived threat, and the president made it a priority today. He threatened to hold back, quote, large-scale federal funding from the entire state of California if his executive order about transgender sports is not adhered to. In another culture war, Trump upped the pressure on Harvard University, asking federal agencies to cancel all contracts with the university worth up to $100 million. Why? Well, primarily, he doesn't like what he sees as a liberal agenda on many campuses. Now, part of the conflict, though, has to do with the protests and the anti-Semitism and extreme Islamist sympathies that were condoned on some campuses. Now, of everything I just mentioned, this last little aspect is really the only thing that matters if you care about safety and security for real, okay? Like real threats. Trans athletes are not a real threat. I get why people have a problem with it, okay? That's not my point. I'm just talking about the priority we're getting it. I understand what it could mean for certain girls and their chances of excelling and getting scholarships. I get it. But to have the president focus on it this way, to have all of us, to have you know so much about this issue, when you know so little about what threatens you and your family most. We never talk about it. It just blipped up and then went away again over the weekend, and now it's gone. You know what the biggest threat is to us here at home? The threat of radical Islamism. It is on the rise in this country and globally. And I've seen this movie before, and the sequel is going to be just as threatening, if not worse. God forbid there's another 9/11. God forbid. Nobody wants that. Hopefully it never happens anything, but we don't need anything like that for the threat to be real. To me, that's the only thing that matters in this Harvard beef with the president. Because I'm telling you, our young people being vulnerable to radicalism is a huge threat, bigger than anything else that we discuss. Israel is just the obvious point of conflict, but Iran and its proxies and the other growing Islamist sects are coming. It is not over. It's not gone just because we left the region. And in fact, it may be more intense because we did. Before the Memorial Day weekend, the State Department issued a travel advisory for Americans traveling to Italy. Italy. Of all places, one of the most popular places to go. Nobody thinks Italy and terror. I have family there. But why? A growing risk of terror, attacks, and violence. This is the new reality. Here at home, many young people, especially young men, are praising the guy who murdered 2 Israeli embassy workers. He wasn't a Muslim. And a lot of these people praising him are not Muslim, but they are susceptible to extreme thinking. You see this influencer, Guy Christensen, hundreds of thousands of followers? Here's the message from him.
I take it back. I do not condemn the elimination of those 2 Zionist officials who worked at the Israeli embassy last night. I want to urge you first to support Elias's actions. He is not a terrorist. He's a resistance fighter. And the fact is that the fight against Israel's war machine, against their genocide machine, against their criminality includes their foreign diplomats in this country and internationally.
Where'd he come from? Like, how is this his fight? You see what I'm saying? You take people who don't have any sense of purpose, and they connect to the suffering, perceived or real, of others, and they make it their own. That is the risk. That's who that guy was who murdered the 2 Israeli embassy workers. He's not a jihadi. This punk's post caused an outpouring of calls for the DOJ to investigate the influencer. Good. And DOJ official Leo Terrell posted, the DOJ is following all leads and investigating his threats. But see, I want to see the same urgency that you have for trans athletes, okay, or for lawfare, or for Hunter Biden's laptop, or, you know, Trump's meme coin, and all this other stuff. Because this goes so much deeper, and we're sleeping on it. We're sleeping on it. Liberal campuses, trans athletes, lawfare. These are all devices of division that work for the two parties to keep us separated from our common concerns that should bring us together. And this is the unifying thread. You want to be scared? You want to be worried about somebody hurting you? About attacking your kids? Ruining your family? Maybe killing you? None of the things that are on our agenda has any chance of doing any of that to you, except radical Islamism. And we speak about it the least. It is not a priority for this administration, nor was it for the last one. And I'm telling you, especially now with these talks with Iran and starting to poke that beehive again, this is where we should be focused. Why? You don't have to be Muslim to be radicalized. Left-wing groups are already making stickers of the killer, applauding the murders of the embassy workers. They're not Islamists. So why would they do that? Because violence as a voice for people who are desperate and stupid is real. Join me in keeping a focus on what really matters. I'm going to keep covering this every time we see another manifestation of it. This is the threat, specifically with what's happening with young men in this country. There is a vulnerability unlike any we've seen in a generation. And if we want to talk about, you know, these things that are becoming, you know, the fight of the moment, there is something about Harvard that I think is actually worth talking about. I don't know that a lot of the actions the president's saying he's going to take will actually happen. I mean, let's be honest. He's big on the talk, not always on the walk when it comes to threats, right? We just lived it with the tariffs. We'll talk about that tonight. Trump is considering taking $3 billion in U.S. grants that are meant for Harvard for scientific and engineering research and giving it instead to trade schools. Now, I don't think this is going to happen. But just like with Trump's initiative of saying, hey, we got to start focusing on the working class, not just the top, that's true. His way of doing it, I think, is killing small businesses and upsetting the economy. But once again, him saying we have to focus on the artisans, that's true. And I want to bring in someone who has been owning this and sees the risks to our young people, especially our young men, and the need for artisans, and there is opportunity here. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.